Hello and welcome everybody. So nice to see you guys joining us here. It's an exciting day to come together and feel the cosmic towers and feel subtle energy. Leah, looks like you might have a guest today. I see you have Leah and Kurt there. You got somebody joining you, or is that just on your Zoom name? Oh, if you wanna share verbally, you got to unmute, or you could type in the chat. Welcome everybody. Hey Tara. Hi Marcia.
Hi.
Hey. They're still calling you iPad, huh? I always like renaming you. There we go. I got you.
Oh, you got me? Okay.
Yeah. No worries.
Thanks.
Okay. A couple more people still popping in and out of the waiting room. Okay, well, the recording started, so why don't we start? Thank you all for being here. It's lovely to come together with you. It is April 1st, 2025, and that's no joke. My daughter was born on this day 20 years ago, and we got my dog about a year and a half. We think he was about a year and a half old, so we got him about 6 months before April 1st. So we decided that Blue would have the same birthday as Emily. So this is my dog's birthday too. So anyway, we've been talking a lot over these last weeks and months about how to continue to deepen what we're doing. And the thing that just feels so present for us is continuing to shift from a individual me orientation to life to a more connected feeling of ourselves. Like there's something that happens when we come together with others inside of something meaningful. And I think, as this unfolds in my speaking right now, like part of what happens is there's an elementary school right up the street here, and oftentimes when I go for a morning walk with the dog, they're starting their lessons. And as I was walking by outside the building yesterday, I heard the teacher teaching kids two ways that they can structure a sentence. And I was like, no wonder like we're so structured. Like we're taught that we can only do it certain ways, not that we're supposed to tap into the infinite and all that our creator brings us as inspiration, but that we're actually supposed to follow these methodologies. And so I reflected upon that on my walk. And so what we're looking to do is build the bridges between each other and to have you build more of the bridges in your life, which is why our invitation invited you to invite people into your homes to have experiences together of experiencing the towers. Sometimes we'll send an aqua energizer or a cosmic tower out to somebody, and they'll have a little bit of adjustment period where they're finding where to look with experiencing the subtle energy products. And we find that if you bring like-minded people together, that it gets easier. And when somebody in the room can see or feel, then that opens up for the rest of us seeing and feeling. And so we want to simultaneously encourage you to find that for yourselves, and we also want to incentivize you to do that. And so I'm going to wait to share the incentive till a little later in the call in case people are still joining. There's still a little bit of rolling in. We'll turn over to Nico first, and we'll do more of the experiential process. So if anybody wants to hop into this conversation, Nico included, or any of you, any questions or comments to bring out more of what we're talking about here? Is it making sense to you? Do you get where we're coming from? Nico, do you want to clarify it at all? It's kind of a new take on our old topics.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to share, and well, I'm in Egypt right now, and it's It's really the consciousness is different here. If you look in the Western world, it's me as an individual, me as this separate entity in in the environment or in the collective. And the Egyptians are very different. I mean, they very much still come from a we consciousness. They always share, they always invite you for tea. I mean, even in their speaking, oftentimes they will say we. They're not so individually focused, and they take care of each other. And I think that recognizing that interconnectedness and our connection to all of this is, is very important. And that's why I see they're also much more, most of them still much more intuitive still. And they feel things going on. And I think that's because they're not so closed off. Right, they're not so. I'm this separate entity. They still come more for that we, and that creates a completely different vibe, which I appreciate, and it's something, we as a society, we have to go through too. So we've been in this stage of where we're all individual, and that had its benefits, right, in the evolution. But now it's time again to open up, and yeah, I just want to lead something to really bring people here first and foremost. We get a lot. Some people they comment like, I can't really feel my tower, but a lot of people also live in here and are really not aware of their bodies, or the energies are mostly going on here where we try to analyze everything and we try to think our way out of things. And making connection is not about your thoughts. You can direct your intention somewhere, but ultimately the connection, you get that through feeling. And that's really, we'll go through it in a second just to bring everybody here. But I want to do that because the most important thing with the tower is also, connecting with it. If you close yourself off from the world, me included, to open that back up, and then you realize that it's already there. And so I want to take people through that to get into that feeling state. And yeah, let's start there. Of course, we're always happy to answer your questions. If you came here with a question, put it in the chat, and we're happy to answer those. But yeah, I just want to invite everybody to really bring your presence, bring it here, and rather than taking a breath, just realize that you are the breath, and just becoming aware of that and letting that flow. And then I just want you to allow your energy to sink into your body. And you could put your awareness on where your root chakra is or your perineum. And then really by just having your awareness there, your breath will naturally start flowing there. There's no pushing, there's no taking of breath. It's realizing you are the breath. Just relax more and more and just allow your feeling to drop all the way into your root chakra. And you can kind of imagine that feeling like if an elevator is going up, it kind of feels like that. Like you just feel the energy come down. And you might notice, sensations in that area, and that's good. That means that your awareness is there and that the energy is flowing there. And what this does is this brings you fully into your body. And when you know you have that, just allow your awareness to go out like 360 degrees, just feeling the space around you. That's right. Just allow yourself to feel. And your mind might come in, but that's okay. That's normal. You just bring your awareness back all the way into your root, in your perineum, down in your body, and then all the way around you. That's right. Just allow yourself to feel the space. Don't forget behind you. Feel what's behind you. And just keep expanding that out. And the way you go deeper into a particular state is not through force. It's true relaxation. You relax more into it. And just the more you relax and just allow that breath to happen through your entire body and feeling the space around you. That's right. This is the place, if you want to feel your tower, you do it from this place, from this feeling. You don't focus on like the tower, but the energy field around it and the energy field that you're sitting in of the tower. That's right. One thing you'll notice when you're really deeply into that feeling state, where did the mind go? When you're in that feeling state, naturally and automatically, like the chatter in your mind stops. And from this place, from this space, from this state, it's as simple as just putting your awareness on the tower or just on the field that you're already sitting in, and the connection's already made. That's how simple it is, because where you put your awareness, where you put your focus, you naturally connect with. And the energy flows. There's nothing for you to do there. That's right. I see a lot of you do this with your eyes closed. That's good. I do that too automatically, but then just open your eyes and just keep that feeling while you have your eyes open. One of the things that helps for me there is I don't focus on a particular thing, but kind of like you're staring in the distance. You're just aware of the space around you. And then notice how different you feel just by doing this for like a few minutes. There's just a little practice that I wanted to share. And for those that have a challenge feeling your tower, or maybe even the energy field of a tree or of another human being, first of all, you're always feeling it. It's just a matter of whether you're aware of it or not, right? This is just about creating the awareness. And if this is new to you, I encourage you, to deepen this practice. It's going to bring many benefits into your life, but you're also going to naturally feel more connected to all of life. And in the beginning, it can be a challenge, and there might be a lot of chatter in what they call the monkey mind, but that's okay. Just let the mind do its thing. Don't beat yourself up. Don't try to do this right. Know that that you can already do this, and just be playful with it. And one of the things that really works for me, I'm not a guy that's gonna wake up in the morning and meditate for an hour or a half hour. It's just not my thing. What I find a lot more practical is that all throughout the day, even if it's for like 5 seconds, you just drop into this state of feeling. And this will greatly enrich your life. And you'll actually notice when you're in this state that places in your body, why you might be hurting or where you have contractions, they all start to loosen up. It starts to unentangle, right? And then when you want to sit with your tower, you do the same thing. Know that the tower has this entire toroidal field. You're already sitting in it. So just allowing yourself to shift into feeling what's around you, you're already connected with that energy of the tower, and then you can even look at it, or you can just pull it up in your mind, but you're already sitting in it. So just allowing yourself to feel. And then I like to set up triggers. You can say, every time I'm sitting good time I find is to practice when you drive in a car, because guess what? You're already doing this when you're driving a car. You're not constantly calculating, oh, how wide is my car? Am I going to hit this mailbox on the right or whatever? No, you have proprioception, right? You're doing this automatically when you're driving a car, for example. So that's a good time to also come into that. Or if you're in front of a red light or whatever, what else you got to do? Just drop into that state. And I find that rather than trying to set up a practice to do it every morning, for half hour, an hour, and that's great if that works for you. For me, repeating it often, even if it's for just 5 or 10 seconds a day, that really helps build that capacity. And you will notice that you become more sensitive, you become more in tune, and things flow more for you. I mean, the reason why so many of us get stuck with certain things is because we try to think our way out of it. No, it's actually through feeling that you can get to the root of things. And that's something I'm working on now. And I see Tio's on the call, and him and I have been sending a lot of messages back and forth. And one of the things I'm working on now, it's not completed yet. I want to do some more testing with other people. It worked great for me, but I want to test with some other people, is to use the tower to release limiting beliefs like emotional blockages, and really um, come with a simple protocol to where you can actually more intentionally work with your tower, and let the tower be a part of your transformation, and clear those limiting beliefs or things that might be holding you back, or these patterns that keep repeating, um, situations in your life that are not harmonious, to help with the help of the tower to help clear those. And it's something I'm excited about, and I'm working with now. And thank you, Tia, for being a sounding board, and all the messages we are going on this.
Yeah, it's been great. Thanks for including me. I know we have another round of messages to go through, so I'll respond to those as well.
Thank you.
I think it's great that you guys are having that dialogue together, and I want to encourage other members of the community to have the dialogues together, either with each other. Find somebody on the call that you like when they talk, and just send them a message and say, I want to talk to you. Or people in your life, people who are family or soul family or neighbors or friends. The more we talk with others, the more this deepens. So there's a certain really easy way to see why Nico and Theo would pick each other to go deeper in the conversation. But who are you picking? Because so many of us are living isolated lives, and we just don't know how to get out of it. And how to get out of it is to take a little risk and invite somebody to share the space with you. And maybe it's somebody who who you have affinity with, who lives a little bit distant from you, and they come into the Zoom, or you guys watch this recording together on Zoom, and you just start that way and keep going, because it's the connectivity that really helps point us in the right direction. And Nico, I really enjoyed that process. I'm curious if anybody wants to share from their experience from what Nico just led. For those of you who are joining a little bit late, Nico has just led a process, so being late today unfortunately means you missed that, but we'll send out a recording of the process, and get it to you, and we can fill you in on this part of the conversation and the recording to you later. So anybody want to share their experience? Are we feeling shy and quiet? It's okay. It's all perfect.
May I ask a question, Patrick? It's Alex. It is not that I have an experience personally, but I got a question because I shared and tried to spread the information. A question that I was not able to answer myself: the difference between the tower and the generation of the toroidal field and the scalar technology. Would you be able to elaborate a little bit more on that?
So you're asking about the scalar, Alex, and then what was
Yeah.
the first thing, the difference
Yes.
between the tower and the ether, like the toroidal field, or I didn't
The
catch
the
that first part.
difference between the mechanism of action of the tower and the devices that are generating scalar waves.
Yes, and one of the resources I've done a science series where I talked about these things, and also the difference in scalar waves. And a scalar wave is actually a special type of what they call a longitudinal compression wave. And what that means is, an example of a longitudinal wave is sound, for example. Right, you have a pressure that's moving through the air, and then it hits your eardrums, and that translates then in certain sounds that you experience. So imagine a similar wave, like a compression wave, but moving through the ether. Right, so that is what a longitudinal wave is. A transversal wave goes like this, that what most of us are familiar with, like a sine wave, while actually the movement in a longitudinal compression wave is going in the same direction. Then we have those on all levels. We have them in the air. We know them as sound, but they can also, be in the ether itself. And a scalar wave is actually a type of such a longitudinal compression wave that is created by taking electromagnetic um, wave and then putting it 180 degrees out of phase. So it basically cancels out the signal, but all that energy then is transformed in what they call a scalar wave. So I like to use longitudinal compression waves. It's also what Dr. Karim uses, what's being used in biogeometry, and then just see a scalar wave as a type of longitudinal compression waves. And these longitudinal compression waves, depending what level of creation they can actually go much faster than the speed of light. And with sound, there's a delay because it's in the air. But the more you go into the subtle realm, like the more instantaneous the energy transfer is. So the ether has a really high density of energy. So it's the best analogy I can give you is like if you hit a nail, for example, what's the delay between you hitting that nail and the energy arriving at another place? It's like instantaneous, right? So those are longitudinal compression waves, and scalar wave is a type of wave. I don't know which devices particularly you're referring to, but a lot of scalar wave devices, obviously, because scalar is a special type of longitudinal compression waves that's created with an electromagnetic signal. With an electromagnetic signal, they actually use electricity, and then to generate these scalar waves, as I just described. While with the cosmic tower, it's through the toroidal field, and it's more like in nature. I mean, you can compare it to the way a sacred power spot works in nature. You have underground water crossings, and then this generates this toroidal field, which then also puts out longitudinal compression waves and spreads that sacred energy of that power spot like far and wide. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you very much, because that was my impression too, that actually the scalar waves are much more artificial, because you choose the kind of frequency and then you generate it through electricity, and the tower is actually working in a much more natural way. But then the question is, how does the tower regenerate itself?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the same like with our life force. If you have a toroidal field, you're actually in the center of the toroidal field. You could say it's like a portal, or it's like an access point to higher subtle planes, through higher planes of energy. And just like we don't get all our energy from just food and water, right? We also get it through the resonance, our resonance with the earth's toroidal field. So energy is continuously flowing, from these higher levels into the level that we experience here, right? It's very much like you can see in nature.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It
You're
helps a lot.
welcome. Thank you for your questions, Alex.
Yeah, Alex, thanks for sticking with that topic. Like the way you said it about you choose the frequency and then you push it out with electricity, like that landed with me in a way I've never quite thought about that before, and really helped deepen my understanding. So appreciate your question. As you guys know, these calls are an evolution of the Cosmic Tower Q&A. We just want to make them more experiential. But if you have questions, you're so welcome to ask them, and we'd be delighted to answer them. We just didn't want to keep coming here every month and answering the same questions in a way that would get kind of monotonous. And really, if you look at my relationship with Nico and who Nico is for all of us, he's constantly leading us on the cutting edge of feeling more, experiencing life like being in the feeling. So it makes sense that we would have this evolution. Does anybody else have any questions? Karen.
Hey, Nico.
Hi, Karen.
So this morning when I was teaching Tai Chi Qigong, I said, okay, let's go ahead, tap into the energy of the earth. And all of a sudden, the earthquake from Thailand, this energy came up. And all of a sudden, I tapped into the energy because everybody's traumatized by it and so forth, right? But when you tap into the energy of the earth, it's like, it's very different because the earth has a different point of view, like of all these things, natural phenomena and things like that. Of course, there's so much devastation, and we're, as humans and animals and whatever on the planet, we're so affected by it. But I was wondering, what does that do to the field, and what happens? How do you explain that to people?
You mean an earthquake? What does it do to the field, or?
Does it affect? I mean, there's little. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and this is just my personal opinion, right? And I think earthquakes often have to do with real, drastic shifts in consciousness, right? And I think I've definitely experienced that in the past few weeks and the past few months, and it's been challenging too with some of the things that has been bringing up. But I think there's really, I mean, I feel like profoundly different here in the last week, and in a good way. And I think we're going through these shifts of consciousness, and I think everything is connected, right? All the subtle energy with the physical, and the earth's, she's a living being. Right? And just like all of the universe is alive, from the smallest atom to the universe itself, it's all like one multi-dimensional being, basically, in multiple layers with different realms of experience, right? We always look through our human experience, and then I wonder what my dog is thinking now, right? These kind of things, because we run it through our consciousness, while a dog's, experience is very different. They hear in different ranges, they smell in different ranges, so you can't compare them. But what we all can agree on is that they're conscious in their own way. So if you mean what does it do to the field of the towers, I think. First of all, when these earthquakes happen, it's like a rearranging of energy, right? Oftentimes you have, the energy build, and then you have chaos, and then actually the entire system is in a higher level of organization, and it's in a, a higher vibration. And I think the same is going on in the earth right now. And just like with your own being, when you are you know, getting healthier or you're getting more in tune and you have more energy, you also have manifestations in your body of this. I mean, you can detox or certain old pains can come up or things get worse before they get better. If you do fasting, for example, that happens a lot, or with homeopathics, you know, you might get worse first and then you get better. And for me, just as um these shifts in our subtle energy are that we feel in our body and that manifests in certain ways of the body. I believe it's the same for the earth. It's the same for the human collective. I mean, we're all part of the human collective. We affect the collective affects us. And that's why I think we're in a time where some people might be panicking because a lot of the old systems seem to be breaking down and they are crumbling. And, you know, have you ever tried to plant something into your garden, but it's already full and then make that thrive? No, what's a much better approach is to create some space first and to clear something out. But then it's only then when you have that space that something new can be planted there and that you can seed something new. And I feel that that is very much going on in our world right now, collectively and with the earth being, and how graceful that process goes. I believe that that's all up to us, to each and every one of us, how graceful that process is going to take place and how much resistance we're going to have to the changes that are happening. And say you have a lot of like resistance, it's going to create a lot more friction. There's going to be a built up energy that might then blow up. So yeah, that's I didn't answer the cosmic tower part. I think the cosmic towers then, you know, help harmonize, right? I mean, we don't have any in Thailand, but really, I mean, these things are supposed to happen. I think they're gonna happen, but how bad is it gonna be? I think all of that, when the energy is more harmonious, you know, the way that the energy balances and clears and realigns is also gonna be more harmonious.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Nico. I really appreciate where you take us. So, Patter, thank you very much for hosting this as well. Thank you.
Aaron,
Thank you for chiming in.
yeah. Anybody else have questions or comments or anything they want to share? Linda asked in the chat, do you, who names the towers? Do you pick the name or is it given? So I remember being kind of astounded when we ordered the first container of cosmic towers, and they're like at sea on their way to North America, and I was getting phone calls, and you know, this one person called and said, you know, my tower woke me up in the middle of the night, and the dialogue is like really strong and alive, and other people were like having names come through and feeling like they had, you know, very definitively made a connection with a specific tower. And you know, I was like, what is going on? I had no understanding of that, but people just kept showing me like this is what's happening for them. And then I've had other people who have like a feeling toward frustration, or like that they're missing something, like why don't I know how to name my tower? Honestly, I've been closer to that one than I have to the it's been flowing through. And then, you know, I have a lot of towers now, and they're different. And I've had two in particular that I'm like, I'm really happy with the names that came through. Like I've got a 220 like right here, and it's Merlin the Maui magician, and you know, Merlin's here to take care of the environment on Maui. And then I have a 75, which is Cosmo, and Cosmo is assigned to my personal health. And so one of my practices is that I ask Cosmo continuously to impart the frequencies of the highest and best health for my physical body, my vitality, into the water in this home, so that I'm continuously giving gratitude to the water and feeling the presence and the connection with Cosmo while drinking. And I'm really appreciating that. So those are some of the things that I've learned. So Linda, it sounds like we keep, getting inspired that Joey is the name. Well, if Joey's the name, Joey's the name. Like, that's just how it is. Some of the names are very ordinary, and some of them are a little mystical, and it's all really good. Nico, before
Yeah,
I
and yeah, and it's not like, your tower needs to have a name, because let's take it a level further. I mean, what you're really tuning into is a particular vibration, right? And then how you translate that through your filters, or what represents that, is then that's going to be the name, and that's going to be different for everybody, right? Because we all have different filters. But it doesn't matter. It's kind of like you create a shortcut almost on your computer when you give it a name, right? I mean, we don't experience beings as Nico, as, Patter. I mean, all of us are continuously evolving, but what we mean is this particular set of vibrations that I'm connecting with. And then, yeah, you can name those. It just makes it easier, like you have a shortcut on the computer, and right away you get to the file. But it's not needed for your tower to work, obviously, or for you to make a connection with it. But if it comes through, absolutely, and it's going to be different for everybody. Just wanted to add that.
Nico, that different for everybody. Do you want to add any further comment on? Do you know why my son would have picked a different name for the tower?
Everybody's different, and whatever works for him. That works. We're all, we're all individual, and we all have our own filters. What's important is that we make the connection, not so much how we make the connection, or what we name it, but just that we have an easy way to connect.
So whether you call it a potato or a potato, you can still have your relationship with it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you for that, Linda. Anybody else? Yeah, hi, Barbara. I see you, Zane. I'll start with Barbara. Let's get you unmuted.
Yeah, okay. I just unmuted myself. Just to bring the vibration of the tower and make it a lot more physical. I can feel energy, so that's in a lot of different ways. So that's not a problem. But in a couple of instances, I wanted to feel the tower more in my physical body. And so, well, one thing is I just came back from shopping. And just that whole thing of being in a car, being in crowds. And I came back home, and, I was still listening to this presentation, and I thought, oh boy, I need to ground myself quickly. And so again, I've got a 35, but I always carry the mini wherever I go. And I thought, oh, so I could tell that my first, second, and third chakra were not spinning or in sync. So I just have the mini tower right at my waist, touching my body. I'm sitting, so it's easy. And I could just feel the energy go from the top of my head down to the bottoms of my feet. And it was like, so if anybody wants to experiment with that, that's a really physical way, give it time. Everybody's different, but I felt my breath change, everything change, and me being more present. Earlier this week, I wanted to, with the 35, I wanted to feel it more. And I had not been like physical with the 35. So it's on a shelf in my bedroom. And so I just put my arms like parallel to it on it, and then had my sixth chakra touching one of the blue glass parts. And it was like different than just being really close to it. That physical connection to it, it was like whoosh. And again, I could just feel that energy go all the way, in my nervous system, my spine, and then down through the bottoms of my feet. And I mean, it was like bringing that toroidal, vibration from the center of our galaxy right smack into my body. And it was like, whoa, I like this. So I guess I found a different way to connect with the 35, and that's been nice.
Absolutely, and thank you for sharing that, Barbara. And yeah, touch is a very, very strong sense, and it's really a good way to bring something into the physical. So I like that you do that with your mini and your 35. Might be a bit more difficult with the 75, right? But absolutely, touching it is a very strong way to anchor it in the here and now and in the physical. And I remember you talking on previous calls of where you put the tower on your body and then the mini if I recollect that correctly, and yeah, that's a very good way. So thank you for sharing. Everybody is different, has their own way, and that's what's important. Don't try to do it a certain way or so and so's way. Play with it and find your own way and do what works for you. That's what's most important. So thank you.
As we deepen our exploration of our overall connectivity, I want to share that part of my experience, as Barbara was just sharing, is when she brought the image of touching that blue sphere with her head. Like, my energy state completely changed, like right here and now, and it has stayed changed since the moment she said that. Like, I'm in a different energy field. So just point at that for all of us to start looking at how we are connected. And ultimately the goal of the Cosmic Tower project includes having a global connected network that's harmonic, and that is the strongest frequency, right? Because the strongest energy wins. And if we have harmonic fields everywhere, and that's what we feel, that's what we live in, that's what our life is. And it'll be a beautiful place to wake up into every day. Yeah, go ahead, Zane.
Yes, I have a 35, 75 rather. You've probably heard, most of you, I call Grace. And it really is my grace focus, because grace, I think, is a natural occurrence. There's grace all the time. And my tower reminds me of that. It's like, it's almost like also its presence alerts me or makes me more conscious of, it's like bearing witness to my actions and my everyday experience and expression. And so I had a wife one time, my beloved, that would always keep me in check, like left my own devices. It's a little scary, but I think the Cosmic Tower Grace has really given me that daily focus. And like what Nico was saying, it's beyond just getting up and meditating. It's like throughout the day. And so Grace reminds me of that, like to put it into practice. And one of the things I do is I've become so involved in my spine lately, doing a lot of spine work in the Qigong. And so I'm constantly like adjusting to this new position that's becoming reality in me. And it's like this unification. And I feel a toroidal field. I do all my Qigong practices around grace. And it's just amazing. It's leading me on. It's a co-creation. It's not like I can't even explain it, but it's like this friendship that it keeps getting better. And a lot of synchronicities in life right now. I couldn't plan, that's for sure. So yeah, it's quite a journey. I'm really excited, and it continues. That's it. Hello.
So beautiful, Zane. I don't know to what degree it influenced it, but when I bought my Toyota Corolla, I had an intention for a name, and I got in the car at the dealership, and the went inside, and it was mine. It's like time to leave, and I sat there and put on some music, and the song that ended up coming through was "By Thy Grace" by Sanatan Kaur, and I ended up naming my car Grace, and that grace that you've spoken into existence through your tower for like 2 years now has become part of my community, and I think it influenced that. And that car is just, it's just grace to be around. It's just ease. It's really wonderful. So I appreciate that. And coincidentally, just a quick side note, I learned some spinal exercises about 4 or 5 weeks ago, and to my shock, like I get up almost every morning and go outside on the with bare feet on the earth, and I do my spinal exercises, because from the day I started doing them, I just feel better. I feel so much better. It's like I became my own chiropractor.
Yes, exactly.
Feel the wiggling happening. It's like, okay, just adjust it all out. Like, just come into the flow. So thank you for showing the way, and thank you for whatever has these themes spread. It's a beautiful thing. So we had a question in the chat from somebody who has had a 35 from the beginning about 2.5 years ago, and just recently added a 75, and has noticed that the newer tower has a much different feel. Is this possibly different due to different crystal water combinations?
No, the crystals and the water combination are the same as there's always been. So that's identical. But the 35 and the 75, they do have a different feel. And I know, and this is just personal, right? Everybody is different, but I don't know why it is, but I like with my 75, this even though the 75 is more powerful, I've always just had a stronger connection with my 35. It's like my 35 is softer in a way, like I'd almost say more personable than the 75. At least that's my experience off of it. So yeah, they feel differently. And if you then take a 220 or a 250, it's a different feel also, even though they're connected to the same network, the same energy. Yeah, they definitely feel differently, and I think that has more to do with just they're another model, and they might also be tuned in to more things, like a 220 to me is a lot, or 250 is a lot less personable than like a 35, for example. It's almost like, hey, we're working on big things here, and we're helping the earth, regenerate. While uh, personally, I mean, I love the 75, and it's amazing to be in that field, and it's really powerful. But maybe it's like children, you shouldn't have any favorites, but the 35 is still it's still my favorite, and it's just like more natural connection with it. So I hope that answers the question. And I don't know if anybody else wants to comment on that, because I just got an email about it the other day with like a similar comment about that. So they feel differently, definitely.
Great. I'm getting a few messages about my microphone. Is it any better now? Am I louder yet? Yeah. Okay. Great. I think that the bug had drifted out of the back of my mic. So despite being in my face, it wasn't working. My apologies. Thanks for thanks for sharing it with me, guys. I appreciate it. Anybody else? Questions, comments? All right, so there's a moment in this call where we're going to switch from what's going to be cut off and not part of the recording. It's just for you guys live. And so let me just check, going once, going twice, going 3 times, whether anybody has any more questions or comments before I share the next thing. Okay, so oh, I got a question directly, which is any new 220 locations? And the answer is yes. We have a 220 going to Panama. Very, very exciting. It's wonderful to see somebody feel so called to the project that they're going to be the one, and they're going to bring the large tower to a new country. And you know, we're so delighted about that. We go out of our way to do everything we can to support those people to turn that into a hub and to get towers there and you know, have this globe become a little bit more connected inside of the project. So we are delighted about that. Yeah, very, very, very cool. So that's the newest one, and yeah, it's you know, I think when we got the first layer out of the 220s, it was, you know, can we get one in an area, and then there are important areas that, you know, seem to draw more. And you know, if we look at Europe, Harald placed over 800 large towers in Europe in just a couple of years. Like, hey, that man was such a force of nature, for real. And so, you know, we've got a long way to go. And, you know, every 220 is, you know, really important. So if you're called at all, if you feel it on your heart to be contemplating a 220, get in touch with me and let's have a dialogue about it. And we have somebody who wrote in from Ohio and said, you know, I really want one here, and I got $1,000 to put towards it, and that's it. Like that's what she's got. And then not long after that, somebody wrote in who's like 250 miles away from her, and she's like, I want to get a tower. Is there any way that we can work on crowdsourcing this? It's like, well, I got $1,000 for you. So if you bring your intentions, so just bring to me what's on your heart, like what you're feeling inspired about, you know, I'll just keep track of it and like coalesce it all together. And you know, maybe there's ways of cooperating to get more big towers out, or maybe people will, you know, hear this conversation and realize like, hey, that money that I'm using for this or that I'm using for that, it's not as important as building a harmonic energy field. And we get more 220s out there because we definitely have more to do. Okay, question for Nico. I'm also reading into biogeometry lately and have a couple of similar tools that are used for clearing. Any harm in using these clearing tools on a tower?
No, actually not. I do it all the time. And, you know, I once sitting on the tower, I play with it. I play with it all the time. And, you know, from my own experience in biogeometry, and especially in the towers, are very compatible, because I think they're both really, you know, they find their alignment in nature's principles. And biogeometry does it through shape, angle, proportion. You know, it's the language of nature. The cosmic tower does it through a toroidal field, you know, that's based on healing water, which is also nature's way. So no, I do it myself, and I've actually put cubes on my tower to stand. You know, when I want to clear something, the subplanes clearing card. I've done all kinds of things, but if you're taking a biogeometry courses, you know, always test, right? So don't just assume, but make a change and then test. Is the BG3 stronger now, or is it less? So, but other than that, yeah, I do it all the time.
You know, part of the point of all this is to get us to all give up our pattern of going to outside authorities to measure things and to know and all these type of things. And it's great that we show each other way. So, you know, Nico gets this book of biogeometry signatures and like, you know, diligently for like 30 minutes every morning, like draws the different biogeometry signals. And then, you know, he talks to me about it and I forget about it. And he talks to me about it. And then I get the book. And then my way of learning the biogeometry signals is to put the book on my desk and leave it there and see if it happens. So, no exercises, no tracing anything, no 30-minute process. But I seem to be becoming more aware of subtle energies and more aware of things. So, we all have our different path of getting there. But the important thing is that this dialogue about tuning into ourselves, using measurement tools, becoming aware of our body, being the breath, this is the dialogue that leads to it. And so however we get there is the perfect path for us. So I always admire friends like Nico and Theo who measure so thoroughly and have really dedicated themselves to refining it. And I don't know why I'm so resistant to developing the type of techniques that they use. It's not like they won't show me or that it's not available, but I trust my path, right? So Theo threw a
Well, I
comment.
think for Tia and I, we do it because it's fun.
And that's perfect, right?
To us, I mean, right? And everybody's different.
Yeah, everybody's different. And honestly, having this book here feels great. Like I'm doing a lot of practice. I'm doing spinal exercises. Like that's mind blowing to me that I actually get up, go outside, face the sun, and do them. Like I did not think when I learned them that I would do them, but really, I just started feeling so good that I couldn't not. And another thing that's really changed for me is that when I wake up in the morning now, it's compelling to want to drop fully into awareness in my body. And there's kind of a stage I'm going through right now where I wake up and I first feel the body, and then I take that awareness of body to Cosmo, my 75, and connect around health. And then I move from there to Merlin and connect around the Maui environment. And then I move through Merlin to the whole network of cosmic towers around the world. And having that level of connectivity is really, it's feeling essential. And if I don't, I don't feel right. And I notice it, so that most mornings that's my practice. Theo, good news, you do remember 2 towers that you measured on the multi-state thing, and the ones that I just referenced with Ohio. It's a new one that actually hasn't been completed yet. So we have somebody who's chewing on getting another 220 for that area. So we're excited to see the deepening in the area because there's only a few towers up there.
Yeah, it was right on the edge of what was possible with the towers. The one in Minnesota and then the one, I think it was Illinois. When I was able to map dowse the edge, the one in Illinois was near some water, which seemed to enhance the distance it could go. So that's really great. The Midwest is getting another one.
Yeah, it's not done yet, but it's definitely an active dialogue. And I can't thank you enough for how much you've developed your skill to measure, because for you to be able to help us when we have people in the community who are a couple hundred miles apart and like wondering, is that connection between the larger tower and the smaller tower going to work for me? Am I going to be supported? Which are really legitimate questions. Having you lead the way in that, it's precious. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm jumping back into that a little bit. I've had some customers of mine asked to have another measurement, so I'm doing that and taking some courses to enhance my abilities there and get better at that. And I just want to say, for the clearing thing, I use my tower to clear stuff all the time. It especially seems to do really well with other crystals. But it's a significant boost effect. But food, water, it clears all that stuff. I haven't thought of using biogeometry on the tower other than I've measured it with the BG3 pendulum before, and it was just a huge amount of energy coming off of it. So that's cool. I'll look into doing that.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. I think I'm gonna go into the part that we're gonna cut out because it's the perfect time.